like 100 million population, but in 6 hours driving distance, we have around 2 billion people living.
Yeah.
So we are aware of the potential it carries, and the airlines are also exploiting that potential more and more, as long as they get, aircraft deliveries. So, like I said in the beginning, airport should be extremely careful of not creating an obstacle in that growth phase by having the right finances and right revenue composition, so that the infrastructure growth can be done at the right time with the right quality, without creating any setback in that growth cycle.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Povic?
I think that the biggest challenge is to understand that we are still in the process of converting airports from infrastructure to business. Usually, when it was everything controlled by the state, we invest whatever we need to invest. We create monuments from terminal buildings. We have a national carrier or dominant carrier who was covering majority of our traffic on the airport. It was easy. But now, when we have to pay back all the costs, especially if it is private investor or banking investors, you have to think about economy. And this is not going to happen to regional and small airports worldwide, because you have this ratio 20-80, where 80% of the traffic is managed by 20% of the airports, and 20% of the traffic is managed by 80% of other small airports. That's my economy of scale is very important. Unfortunately, this doesn't go back into the economical performance of the regional airports.
I'm curious, was there a particular moment in your evolution as a leader where that going from the state-centric system to what you're dealing with now, like your kind of eureka moment where you realized you had to change your...
Yeah, we are challenging, even in Azerbaijan now. In this moment, we are the first private airport under construction, financed from the private fund, from the airline fund. Mm-hmm. And once when we start to build, we didn't think that there will be some cases that the regulation in the Azerbaijan is not adapted, that we can operate private airport. So we find out that there are several rules that were adapted from the state-owned airport, state-owned system, and they didn't think, they didn't put into the law such cases. So we are now initiating the process to change something, because otherwise it will not be possible. But again, we are thinking about efficiency. We are thinking about the best revenue from our customers. We are thinking about customer relation approach, quality of service, because we know that airlines are making money once when they are in the air, not once when they are on the ground. So we try to keep them on the ground as less as possible.
Thank you so much. Did you want to add something to this, Valerie?
No, not specifically.
Okay.
But I can answer the question as well.
If you like, please.
I wanted to focus more on operational readiness and technical expertise. Because I think skills, coordination, making sure that process management is taken care of is sometimes underestimated. And we want to understand where technology can help, where technology can help operating the airports be easier for the people who do that. So I can mention two examples that I know of. Mm-hmm. One is providing the airports and the airlines with tablets so that they can service passengers not bound behind a desk, but they can go up to the passengers and check them in, print a bag tag, things like that, which really helps and is everybody knows how to use a tablet nowadays or mobile phone. So it makes it easier. Another example is for, we have an innovation project for virtual airport operating centers, where we try to make it easy for all the people who are involved in decision-making at operation time to talk and make decisions together better. So we partner with Microsoft, and we built a unified communication channel on Teams. So Teams is a tool that many people know that is usable from many devices, so that people, for example, working on the turnover of one flight, they have a specific Teams channel for that flight, all the information they need. They can talk together through teams to make decisions quicker. So when technology can help on operational efficiency.
Thank you so much. So I'd like to turn to a quick fire round on solutions, since many of you sitting in the audience are trying to understand what relevance this has for your own countries and regions. So what solution, if you could sort of conjure up any solution that would solve your biggest problem in your relative airports or companies, what would that solution, what solution would have the greatest impact? Would it be a digital tool? Would it be some form of regional collaboration, shared expertise, sustainable design, for example? Starting with you, Mr. Hailu.
I would say regional collaboration and shared expertise. As a Pan-African airline, ASKY is having its commercial and technical agreement with Ethiopian Airlines. So we share expertise and also harmonize training standards, connectivity efficiency, and we build the network together. And also a direct flight from Lome to USA, where ASKY is putting its own code share there. In addition to that, with this regional collaboration and expertise on how to better operate and create operational environment which is smooth to the passenger and to all stakeholders. So we have a joint airport infrastructure facility usage. We synchronize our schedules in such a way that when contact gates are limited, we try to synchronize our schedule. When one aircraft arrives, we use the contact gate and then we tow it to the remote area and the other one comes. So with that, even with experience sharing, because Lome Airport is 1/10 of its volume from Addis Ababa Airport. So the airport and handling people go to Addis Ababa for experience sharing. So the regional collaboration and shared expertise, we have found it to be very, very practical and efficient in rendering a seamless service to our passengers.
Thank you so much. Mr. Rahil?
Thank you. Digital tools play a key role in how we manage traffic growth. We are deploying now in Morocco solutions such as e-gates, automated access control, and real-time passenger flow management system to improve processing times and reduce congestions. These tools allows us to optimize existing capacity and to enhance passenger experience in our airports. We can say that digitalization allows us to optimize existing capacity very quickly. And I thought by Madam that we introduced now the epoch in Morocco, especially in Casablanca, which improve efficiency without immediate heavy investment. But at the same time, regional collaboration is essential because many of our challenges, whether technical expertise, training, or operational standards, are shared across countries. By sharing knowledge and aligning practices, we can accelerate progress much faster than working individually.
Thank you so much. Mr. Kozi?
I would also go with operational efficiency, or maybe innovation as a whole, especially in the case of Kazakhstan, which is an ex-Soviet country that has still some very heavy regulations, and way of doing business is it's sometimes slow or extremely bureaucratical. Removing those bureaucratic barriers by some sort of innovation, could be digitalization as well, where many shortcuts could be created by way of digitalization. Will make life much easier, and the airport will become a lighter institution. Responding quickly to the needs of the airlines or the passengers, and creating a resilience in the overall system. Because otherwise, an airport, if you manage it without any changes and with the standards that were established some 20, 30 years ago, you can see a lot of situations where the airport becomes overstaffed, and doing something for the sake of doing it, although it doesn't help to the passenger or the airline comfort, starts to be happening everywhere. So, as everything in our life changes, I think the way we operate the airports should also go through substantial transformation every day, every year. And we need to be really bringing innovation in everything what we do. And I'm not saying, innovation is just some technological improvement. I'm also talking about doing, things differently and in the most efficient manner. And of course, nowadays the technological improvements using resource planning softwares and also the growing influence of artificial intelligence is giving me a lot of hopes that the solution will come from that aspect.
So countries grappling, like Kazakhstan, with having been a Soviet state and grappling with one of the challenges of that legacy, using technology and AI is one important solution.
Yes, we are really lucky in Kazakhstan that the government strategy or the state policy is towards much, faster digitalization, and they are really pushing for it, incentivizing it in every aspect of the life, including aviation.
Thank you. Mr. Povic?
For me, I think its biggest challenge is sustainable design. Because unfortunately, we cannot forecast what is going to be requested in the next 20 years concerning technology of flying, let's say. Once when you see how the evolution of regulation in aviation happened, we see that it was mainly regulated by the aircraft producer innovation. And once when the Concorde came on the market, many airports tried to extend the runway to adapt the runway for Concorde, but Concorde was produced only in 12 pieces and stopped flying. So whoever invested in the extension of the runway make a mistake. Same thing happened with the Airbus 380. Once when they get to operation, many airports were adapting the double level bridge and also extending the parking area and runway taxiway and everything for 380, and now 380 stop operation. But this was regulated by the technology from the producer. And now in the recent years, the last 10 years, we have regulation coming from the regulator, from the government or international association, to unknown future. Can anybody told me how the hydrogen airplane are going to look like? What will be the wingspan? What will be the parking position request? No. So we are now planning something that nobody has technological knowledge how to adapt the airport for future, because future is unknown. It's completely opposite what we witnessed from the beginning of aviation. How to supply hydrogen? What kind of protection for people who are going to feel the hydrogen? It's minus 260 degrees Celsius, What about firefighting? What about, so there are so many questions that arise. What about sustainable aviation fuel? How long are we going to get this fuel? We have now 3 or 4 producers of sustainable aviation fuel. Definitely not enough to change to 70%, which is the targeting for Refuel EU program or some other regulator. So I think that our big challenge now is to understand which way we cannot get information we used to get from the aircraft producers now, from the regulator, what will be the sustainable design for future on the horizon of 20 or 30 years of our airport. Not only on terminal building, but also the maneuvering area, runway, approach and other.
Thank you so much. Valerie, would you like to add something to that?
Yes, and I'm going to build on the previous answers that we had about optimizing the flow. Because I think one of the greatest impacts we can have is if we optimize the flow end-to-end in the spirit of local implementation, global benefits. If all the systems of the airports, the airlines, the border authorities are connected, we can improve throughput without increasing infrastructure capacity globally. And I wanted to mention a proof of concept led by IATA that happened a month ago, of a handful of passengers who flew from London Heathrow to Hong Kong to Narita, Japan. Multiple airlines, multiple airports, multiple border authorities, but those passengers defined their digital identity once, and it was used all the way through and back, that same digital identity. So interoperability between all those stakeholders and systems allowed this to happen, which I think is great, because when you imagine this scaling, we can increase throughput.
Thank you so much. I'm now going to move to more targeted questions for each of our panelists, but I invite the other panelists to please raise your hand if you would like to interject and add to it so that we could make this as conversational as possible. So starting with you, Mr. Hailu. In West Africa, aviation operates across a very fragmented infrastructure landscape where gaps or bottlenecks at just a few airports can ripple across entire networks. For airlines, this can mean longer routings, limited frequencies, or missed opportunities to build direct connectivity between markets that are geographically close but operationally distant. So this example we gave earlier of taking a flight in West Africa and finding yourself having to spend hours and hours and hours and hours in the sky transiting through 3 different countries before you end up at your final destination. In Togo, what are the country's specific airport infrastructure challenges, such as runway or terminal limitations, technical capacity, and how do they affect airline operations, passenger experience, and connectivity?
Thank you, Matthew. In fact, Togo Airport, Lome Airport is now in the process of a second phase expanding, so they are trying to address all the exhibited problems so far, but within our operating context in our network, we have a lot of this kind of constraints and restrictions, from small spacious area, small space area for check-in, for boarding gate, for immigration, and also there are flights are overlapping and single runways and absence of the cold chain for perishable export. These are the things in terms of infrastructure which are affecting us day to day within our network. So what we are trying to do is trying to synchronize our schedule to go to an airport where it is a little bit less busy so that we can have the full potential of the airport facilities for us to use, and so on and so forth. So we are trying to optimize with the limited capacities that we have across our network.
And are these challenges common across West Africa?
Well, more in Central Africa, because West Africa, the cities are a little bit bigger and they are also investing a lot. But in Central Africa, there's a long way to go. Airports have to invest more on their infrastructure so that they can support the operating airlines and the growing demand of their middle-class traveler as well.
And can you tell us a specific flight or route that has had to be adjusted because of these constraints?
Yes. For example, in Central African Republic, because of instrument landing and night and other things, we had to tweak our schedule to avoid the night curfew and other things. So we do these kinds of things. And in other places where we have a shortage of contact gates, what we do is after we disembark our passengers, we tow the aircraft to a remote parking. And then when it is, passenger boarding time, we tow it back. Although it adds a little bit on the aircraft towing and handling price, but we can still make use of the existing facilities until they get expanded.
Right. And is the relative lack of African tourism outside of Africa to other regions also a challenge?
In Africa, it is a little bit funny. The aviation ecosystem on the continent of Africa, aviation is regarded as something like a luxury. But from IATA statistics, we can see that when you increase connectivity by 10%, it adds to your employment by 1% and by 2% and GDP by 1%. So in Africa, we have to start looking at aviation as an economic enabler and fueling. Because when they see that the airline industry has a small margin, when they see the revenue being collected, they try to levy it more than tobacco and alcohol. But most of the revenue we collect is going to cost, and our margin is very small. So that makes it difficult to democratize air travel to everybody because tickets tend to be higher. So governments have to come to that state of mind that aviation is something basic they need to invest on, and they need to support, and they need to collaborate with.
Thank you so much. Before we move on, would anyone else on the panel like to add to what he had to say vis-a-vis what lessons your countries or regions might offer for Togo and West Africa? Okay. In that case, one last question, like what airport improvements would make the biggest difference for connectivity, affordability, or environmental performance in Togo and West Africa?
Well, you know, ASCAI has 30 destinations in its network, spreading its wings from Praia, Capo Verde to Nairobi, Kenya, and to the south also to Johannesburg. What I rate a very good example is Johannesburg, Oliver Tambo International Airport. It has regular maintenance and continuous upgrading, and it's well equipped. And also it has a wide range of retail facilities and other things, access to inside the airport hotel. So this kind of facility within Africa, we need more of that. Johannesburg is a good example. And Luanda, the newly expanded airport, although it's a little bit far from the city center, like about 40 kilometers, but it has enough airport terminal area, enough parking, and also it is expanded to the 4F standard, even for Airbus 380. So these are the good examples that I see. And also Lome Airport is striving to expand it in the region. It is planning to be a super connector. So there are a lot of expansion projects coming up. So these are the examples that I can mention.
Thank you so much for that very enlightening distillation of what's happening in West Africa and Togo. Moving on to the case of Morocco, Mr. Rahil. I mean, as we talked about already, Morocco has seen huge growth in tourism going from a period in COVID where everything came to a standstill to 18% growth, which is quite extraordinary. And at the same time, Morocco has positioned itself as a gateway between Europe and Africa. That success, however, has come at a cost. It's putting pressure on your infrastructure that was not designed for this scale or expansion. Like in Morocco, like what are the most pressing airport infrastructure challenges today, whether it's related to funding, traffic growth, climate, or technical capacity? And what lessons from these experiences could help other emerging markets?
Thank you. Back to your question about infrastructure constraints, whether related to runway capacity and terminal space or technical resources. They have a direct impact on daily operations. On the operational side, they can lead the congestion delays, like I go to the example of Marrakesh, and reduce flexibility in managing flights. For passengers, this often translates into longer waiting times, crowded spaces, congestions, and less comfortable experience. And in terms of productivity, it puts pressure on staff and limits overall efficiency. That is why we focus on optimization existing capacity through better flow management and digital tools, epoch, while investing in scalable infrastructure for the future. In Marrakesh, we have recently experienced a significant increase in traffic, mainly driven by tourism growth. To manage this situation, we focused first on optimizing existing infrastructure. We redesigned passenger flows, optimized spaces, and introduced digital solutions like I said, such as e-gates and automated access points. We also implemented fast-track corridors to absorb peak flows. These measures improved capacity and efficiency in short terms. At the same time, we are preparing the future with a new terminal projects in Marrakesh to support long-term growth.
And in Marrakesh, how do you optimize infrastructure constraints? Like you mentioned some of the challenges with infrastructure. What can you do?
We're just optimizing spaces.
Optimizing space, with the corridors.
Yeah, redesign spaces and to put corridors in fast tracks processing to make it more fluent.
Thank you. And I was wondering, like, what partnerships, whether regional or with ICAO, have made a difference? I know the Civil Aviation Academy, which is accredited by ICAO, has played an important role in Morocco. Perhaps you can elaborate a little bit about this?
Okay, for partnerships with ICAO especially, have been the very tangible difference, particularly in capacity building. And in Morocco, a good example, as you said, is the Mohammed VI International Academy of Civil Aviation. Through collaboration with ICAO, we have been able to align our training programs with international standards and develop competencies across key areas such as safety, security, and airport operations. This had a direct operational impact, improving performance in our airport and strengthening ability to support regional patterns.
Thank you so much. Moving on to you, Mr. Kozi, and Kazakhstan. I mean, Kazakhstan has one of Central Asia's busiest airports. You sit at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, and you've been actively modernizing your aviation infrastructure to support this growth of the airport as a hub. In Kazakhstan, what are the country's main airport infrastructure challenges, and what lessons could benefit other emerging markets?
So I talked a bit briefly about one of the main challenges, which is basically responding with the right infrastructure growth to the, with the right infrastructure to the rapid growth that we are going through. I mean, this is always one of the biggest challenges for a Central Asian airport. But on the other hand, there are many other challenges. For example, I mean, geography of Kazakhstan, which is a very large country, and compared to its vast scale, there are only 21 airports. So regional connectivity or domestic connectivity is one of the biggest issues. Another one could be the weather conditions. There are really harsh winters in an important part of Kazakhstan. Almaty is also one of those cities. For example, we have 120 days of de-icing in our airport. So whatever infrastructure that you build, such as, for example, the runway, should be able to cope with very low temperatures as well as very high temperatures during summer. Technical expertise could be another one because, like we mentioned, a lot of changes are happening. Equipments are changing. The way of using those equipments are changing. We are bringing a lot of new amenities to our airports because they're being produced by the producers. But using them, keeping them running, and gaining the maximum efficiency out of them requires substantial technical expertise. And this brings us to maybe another challenge, which is institutional capability. Because everything, I mean, until AI takes over our businesses, everything is still run by the human beings at the airport. And
right.
There's a lot of training needs in the aviation industry that requires to be there on day one, and lots of young people joining the aviation industry every day, discovering the very technical but at the same time very exciting sphere of aviation operations requires the airports, the airlines to continuously invest on human resources. So those challenges are the challenges, I guess, common for many places in the world. Central Asia is also, facing those challenges. But maybe it is more lively in Central Asia because for long years the activity was small in that part of the world. Now it is booming. So the biggest challenge for Central Asia is to deal with all those challenges while going through a significant growth phase.
I noticed some commonalities between Central Asia and West Africa vis-a-vis the lack of connectivity, the lack of, you're mentioning the limited number of airports across this vast country. How do you get around that? Like, is there a fix?
So there is lots of planning going on at the government level, but of course the population is not dense. In Africa, maybe that could be the difference. As long as infrastructure is provided, I think in Africa there will be traffic. Whereas in Kazakhstan, it must be done in the right spot with the right size, so that the economics is not disrupted.
And how do you go about doing that? You have to choose a strategic spot to put these connections.
I mean, thank God I'm not the Kazakhstan Aviation Authority. They have a big responsibility in doing that. But we are just making sure that in Almaty Airport, all the destinations are, offered with equal, chances with the right slots, and the airlines are also facing that challenge, and they also have a huge responsibility.
Well, thank you so much. I was wondering if you could tell us a story of one modernization project, like what worked, what were some of the hurdles, and is there anything you would do differently now? A specific case study or project?
Again, I will refer to the harsh weather conditions. We recently completed a de-icing platform in our airport, which was actually the first in Central Asia where, we performed de-icing operations of the aircraft with running engine in a dedicated place where we recycle the liquid and in the most environmental, manner. What we discovered is that, in winter when temperatures go below -20, what you design on paper may not really work in real life. Right. That's why we always say in our company that you complete projects twice in Kazakhstan, one on paper, one in the middle of winter. So, because, at that temperatures, the doors that are normally working, stop working. The equipment that was, brand new and performing very well, suddenly, starts to lose its pace. So this de-icing platform that we built as a very good idea had a lot of operational challenges before we take it into operation. I mean, we solved the issues and now it's performing very well, but it's really taking into commissioning a brand new infrastructure in the middle of winter is proven to be a very challenging process.
Thank you so much. Mr. Povic, Azerbaijan has positioned itself as a strategic transit hub along emerging trade corridors between Europe and Asia. That ambition brings a clear challenge. How do you scale airport infrastructure quickly enough to handle growing transit flows while maintaining global standards and integrating complex systems across aviation, logistics, and passenger operations? So sort of same question, in Azerbaijan, what are the country's most persistent airport infrastructure challenges, and what lessons, specific lessons from these experiences could be useful for other emerging markets in our audience today?
So first of all, I must say that Azerbaijan has a pretty robust aviation system with 10 airports and one national carrier, well organized and with a high safety standard and quality, and also a navigation system that works, especially as you mentioned, because actual situation that Azerbaijan is the only corridor the aircraft can fly from Far East to the West because of the closure of the Russian airspace and closure of Iranian and Iraqi airspace. So it's pretty demanding for the country. So one can ask why after all these 10 airports that are existing in Azerbaijan, you are building another one. Even majority of the traffic is happening over Hyder Aliyev capital city airport, but still we have 9 airports just to connect the country by national carrier. Because of the business case, our business case, we are founded, we are organized, and we are providing services to our private airline, which is dealing with air cargo. And cargo does not complain, cargo does not buy tickets. You know, cargo you can transfer whenever you like on the economical way. So our business in cargo is that 97% of cargo is transshipment cargo. So we pick up the cargo in Far East, ground land in Baku, resort the cargo and transfer this cargo to Europe, to Africa, and even to the United States. So this is the business case. Having such a business case, we have to provide quality infrastructure for such a business case. So our situation is much easier, again, because we have a known customer, so we can adapt our operations according to a known customer. Absolutely, it will not be the only customer, you know, but still, dominant carrier will be our company that is going to provide this service worldwide. We are part of the supply chain for Europe, because majority of these online trade is going with our aircrafts. And once when we provide services, not only ground handling, once when we provide quality and cheap fuel, once when we provide quick turnaround time, then we make money. So we are private airport by private airline whose task is to provide good cargo transportation, but also making good money. So this is the reason why we decided to open another airport outside of the 10 airports already existing in Azerbaijan.
You mentioned Iran. Have the recent geopolitical realities affected you at all? And if so, how?
Yes, I mean, definitely the cargo operation can be also up and down depending on the demand. So we have a huge role during the COVID time also that we we fly some routes that nobody flew. We supply also the medical elements and medical supplies to Europe from China where it was produced and some others. So this was crisis time. In normal time, we depend on the e-commerce. So if the President of State increase the taxes for some states, it immediately reflects to our business. If the Hormuz area is closed, it immediately affects in our fuel price. So we are very dependable on the world stability, and we are very dependable on the potential of the growth. But definitely e-commerce is going to grow, and according to IATA standards, I think that increasement is almost 20% by year. So this is the business case that we can forecast our future, and then we can prepare our infrastructure for our major airline Silkway.
Is there a particular project that you would like to talk about where something was maybe underestimated and you have a lesson learned for other emerging markets and some of our colleagues in the audience today?
I think that we underestimated cost of the sustainable airport or green airport. Once when you come to that area, you know, you are talking with the people that sometimes go too extreme. Asking something that definitely doesn't work, economically doesn't work. I was just evaluating one document that we have to submit to one institution during these 2 days in my afternoon time. And my question at one of the sentences, do you allow people to breathe even? Because it sometimes go too extreme. So sustainability, yes. Green airport, absolutely yes. But once when you come to some areas, it can be over demanding and over cost. Additionally, some equipment that should be sustainable doesn't work yet because of technology. A firefighting vehicle that has to be charged for 20 minutes, it cannot work because it's not charged. So if it go to intervention and come back for charging, it doesn't work, you know. So idea to convert some equipment from diesel or from gasoline into the electric doesn't work. And it's extremely expensive, you know. So this is what we underestimate how much it is going to cost us. But still, we are committed to go for sustainable airport. And we hope, after signing an agreement with ICAO yesterday, that we are going to be certified as a green airport.
Thank you so much. And Valerie, as a global technology company providing the digital backbone for airlines and airports, I was wondering what knowledge and experience you would like to impart to our colleagues? Do you have a particular case study or example that would be helpful for emerging markets?
Yes, I have a few. I'd like to start talking about Manchester. So I know it's not emerging market, but what they have done at Manchester Airport is really innovative and replicable, and it addresses the challenge of growing passenger volumes really well. And we know the emerging markets are the ones that are going to be challenged by that the most. They are going to, and they are knowing today the fastest growing numbers of passengers. So Manchester had the very traditional way of managing domestic and international passengers with physical separation. Which requires duplication of infrastructure as well. You have to duplicate the gates, the belts, the processing areas, and outside of peak periods, all this is not used to its maximum. So when they redesigned their Terminal 2, they asked the question, they didn't ask how can we get more space, but how can we use the space we have more intelligently. And so they replaced physical separation with digital orchestration. So in Manchester now, it's the same space, arrival and departure for domestic and international travelers. They are identified with biometrics. The domestic travelers, they can continue to progress in those shared area, and the international travelers, they are dynamically redirected to e-gates or, personally controlled checkpoints. So it's a very good example on how to, with fixed resource, increase your capacity to treat more and more passengers.
Thank you so much. I think with the about 10 minutes or so that we have left, I'd love to open the discussion to members of the audience. If you could please raise your hand and someone will come with a microphone. This gentleman in the third row.
So thank you very much for the presentation. The panelist was very well experienced and extensive experience on Electron. I have two questions. The first one is for Tonche. You've spoken about the bigger ports which are smaller and the smaller ports are bigger. What about the smaller ports who are becoming larger? How you see it? And the second question is for all you as airport operators, chief officers. Aviation is not a standalone, it's part of the state ecosystem, which by the end we need to meet government objectives, strategies. So the question I have, what strategies respectively Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Morocco and Togo has on terms of the airport's development? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mentioned something that is definitely, I used to be chairman of the Regional Association, Regional Airport Association of Europe, connecting 420 airports. And it's a biggest challenge how to have a sound economical system in small airports. You don't have a problem to finance big airports. And if you go to ICAO standards, it has two standards for economy of airports. One is full cost recovery, and second one is cost related. If you implement full cost recovery and cost related base into your cost structure, into your pricing structure, you're going to be too expensive. And if you speak with the director of Ryanair, Mr. O'Leary, he's going to ask you to reduce you, because coming to big airports, he's willing to pay more than coming to the small airport. It should be opposite because of economy of scale. And that is why this ratio 80-20, that 20% of European, for instance, airports are handling 80% of the traffic. And all other 80% of the airports are handling only 20% of the traffic, shows you that there is no economy of scale for sustainable management of the regional and small airports. And there is one study done by Berlin School of Economics, when they find out that airport below 500,000 passengers are not financially sustainable. But still, if you see that Europe, for instance, doesn't allow any new green airport, there is no green airport in Europe. We are happy that we are constructing a new airport in Azerbaijan, but if you try to do it in Europe, it will be almost mission impossible because of the regulation, because of all other obstacles. So that is why I think it is very important to understand that regional airports, small airports, should also have some kind of the financial sustainability. Otherwise, you have to reduce safety and security, which is not good. So that's why I was talking about these, that small airports are too big and big airports are too small. Opposite, for instance, if you see the Amsterdam airport, so they are asking for extension every year and they never get a license. It was same with Munich airport and some other big airports. They need capacity, but they don't get the license to grow. They always try to be with more efficiency, slot time, night curfew, and some other elements that are regulated by the regulator, and they don't have enough capacity. Obviously, I think that aviation is going to grow, especially in the emerging market. Usually, we are talking about 8 billion passengers per year, which is huge by airport, or 4 billion passengers by airline, because we have different statistics. So it's almost the population of the world that is traveling every year. And we see that especially the middle class is growing in the emerging market because the ticket price is going down, thanks to efficiency of aviation. And in this efficiency of aviation, we are talking about the efficiency of the airline and the efficiency of the airport. Usually, air navigation is staying on the same, like it was 20 or 30 years ago. So that's why I think it is important from a regulator point of view. Somebody mentioned that airports should not be only economical case, it should be also part of infrastructure that connect the world. Because we used to have one sentence in aviation: 2 kilometers of road takes you nowhere. 2 kilometers of runway take you everywhere.
Thank you so much. Did someone want to add to that, please?
To answer the second part of his question, concerning Morocco, in Morocco, airport development is part of our border national strategy, not just an infrastructure program. So we are aligning airport expansion with key national priorities, such as tourism growth, and economic development, and international connectivity also. For example, Casablanca is being developed as a major hub between Europe and Africa, while airports like Marrakesh are expanding to support strong tourism demand. Our approach is based on three pillars. First, optimizing existing infrastructures. Second, developing new scalable and modular terminals. And third, integrating sustainability and digitalization from the design place. So overall, airport development in Morocco is not only about increasing capacity, it is about creating connected, efficient, and sustainable ecosystem.
Did you want to add to that?
Yeah. To the latter part of the question by the audience, the government of Togo is using its meager resource to build aviation infrastructure, of course, using the taxpayers' money, very much cautiously. So the airport operator SALT and the airline operator ASCA are in full alignment with the government plan. The government is planning to make Lomé as a logistical hub between the Sahel and the coastal regions and West and Central Africa. So for that, our design and our plans and all the things that we are planning to do, both from the airport standpoint and the airline standpoint, are aligned with that. They have a very good, big, deep seaport, and they are planning to build a multimodal sea air. And for that, we are also putting our route network to the Sahel and to the Central Africa, whereby those landlocked countries can be served with this kind of logistics by sea air model. So we are in a complete alignment with what the government is planning to do, because stakes are high and we have to use every dime of the taxpayers' money in a very much cautious manner.
Thank you so much. Another question, please, from the audience? This gentleman.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
عبد العزيز مستوي تقدم من نفسي عبد العزيز مستوي رئيس اتحاد المخترعين الدوليين موجود مقره في غرفة الصناعة والتجارة والخدمات بمراكش.
Chief of the, and also an observant member of the agency of the UN in intellectual property. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers for this great conference and of course all the participants, men and women. I've listened carefully to the majority of the technical issues that this sector faces, especially when it comes to airports. And as you know, the majority of these issues have technological solutions. You know, I heard digitalization, I heard AI, I heard programming, etc. from the solutions that were proposed, but the majority of which have a registered trademarks, registered intellectual property. You know, I am an observant member for 25 years in this specific entity that follows. But my question is to the speakers, be it the parts of governments or organizations or other entities. Do you have a register that lists all these issues that you have listed so far? Do you have reports? Do you have mechanisms that you gather all these complex technical issues that are not mediatized? You know, from time to time I hear that there is some issues in airports with aircrafts, etc. Media hears about it and we know about it nationally, internationally. Unfortunately, didn't understand the question. If it's not imposing too much on you, could you summarize what the gentleman asked so that
Okay,
if it's as simply as possible?
Question, talking about the constraints we are facing in airports in matter of IT and technology, digital tools.
Perfect. Did you want to answer the question? Do you want to answer the question? Okay.
As I said, that digital tools play a key role in how to manage our traffic growth. I think I don't have a special answer for the question, but I emphasize that we are deploying solutions, many solutions in our airports. In case of Morocco, we are developing e-gates, automated access control. We face technological constraints and problems, but they are developed, and we are taking experiences from the other countries in the region to develop.
Thank you so much. Mr. Halu, did you want to add to that?
I mean, I was following through the translator,
Okay.
but the latter part of the question was that, do we have an inventory of our issues which are well organized and channeled in an organized manner for a better solution? Yes, we do. There is a government agency, Civil Aviation, which is bringing together all the airline operators, airport operators, handlers, caterers, fuelers, the entire airport ecosystem. So we have a joint committee which is meeting every month. And then the Civil Aviation is listing all the issues and they are being channeled into solution by all operators. There's a synergy that everybody brings out solution and the best functioning solution is implemented. So we do have a registry of those issues and we tackle them in a methodical manner.
Thank you so much. And Valérie?
Yes, about the digital tools, I wanted to mention something that I'm aware of that talks very much about what you said at the introduction, Dan, that emerging markets, they have this capability to be very innovative and leapfrog with digital tools very much. So it's Indonesia, and something they've implemented about seamless corridors. They have one of the biggest traffic growth in Indonesia, specifically with the Hajj pilgrims volumes that create really high peaks of passengers. So they've implemented the first biometrically enabled seamless corridor for border crossing. They have increased 10 times their capacity to have border crossing in their airports. It's Jakarta and a second one that I don't remember. And the principle is people are enroll into the system with their passport and biometrics, and then when they cross borders, they actually cross borders through corridors. So it's an actual corridor. There is no stop. Their biometrics is checked. While they are walking in motion, they can be looking at their phone, they can be talking to their neighbor, biometrically validated, and they cross borders like this, 43 people per minute at the peak traffic. So it's an example of digital tool in emerging markets.
Thank you so much. So just to end, I would like to very, very briefly summarize sort of 3 big picture takeaways about 1,000 feet in the air. The first one that came across to me is very much the importance of finding the sweet spot of scalability when you're building a terminal or infrastructure. Not too big, not too small, trying to find that sweet spot where you won't spiral out of control in your budget, but at the same time meet the growing needs of your emerging market where growth is happening exponentially. The other one, vis-a-vis our friend and colleague in Togo, is that interconnectivity is a massive challenge, and so regional cooperation is key to help overcome these bottlenecks and gaps. And then I think the third one, in emerging markets buffeted by geopolitical change, economic challenges, aging infrastructure, using digital solutions, AI and other kinds of technology is a way of bridging this gap. And with that, I would like to thank our speakers for their erudite and eclectic responses to a plethora of different questions, and I hope that these case studies were interesting for those of you in the audience today. Thank you so much.